I'm Buckner, your economics instructor. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you can use price elasticity of demand. The main function of price elasticity of demand is to measure how responsive quantity demanded is to a change in price. A firm, if they understand this price elasticity of demand, can ultimately use it to figure out what price they should ultimately charge for their product if they want to try and maximize the total revenue they generate from selling that product. They can figure out what is going to be the price quantity combination that they want to set if they want revenue to be as big as it possibly can be. So first, price elasticity of demand. If you look at a demand function that is a straight line, which is what I'm showing you here, as you move down that line, your price elasticity of demand gets smaller and smaller between the different points as you move down the line. So anything up towards the top of the line, your E, your price elasticity of demand, is going to be a fairly high value, something greater than 1. When E, or your price elasticity of demand, is greater than 1, we call that elastic. So anything up here, E is going to be greater than 1. We would call that an elastic demand. So as you move down the demand function, and it's getting smaller and smaller as you do that, it's going to hit some point where E is going to be equal to 1. We'll say that's right here. That point is E is equal to 1. We call that our unit elastic point on the demand function. And then as you continue to move further down the line, move further down to the right, you'll get into the inelastic portion of the demand function. Down here, E is going to be less than 1, or inelastic. So here's how a business would use that. If a business can identify the point on that demand function where E equals 1, you get two values. First, you get a unit elastic price, what I just labeled UEP. That is the price that they want to charge if they want to maximize their total revenue. Also, from that point, that unit elastic point on your demand function, you get a quantity. We call that the unit elastic quantity. I'll label that UEQ. So, all of that brings us down to the graph below. These graphs are stacked on top of each other because the quantities are meant to align. On this graph below, I'm charting out the possible total revenue a firm might generate from selling its product. So first, take note of the elastic portion of our demand. Think about anything up here, this scenario where a firm is charging a really high price, knowing that at that price, they're not going to have a lot of customers. If a firm were to do that, say pick a point here, high price, low quantity, what you would see is a revenue which is not maximized. It would be here. It would be, let's say this is our elastic total revenue. If a firm was doing that, if they happen to be charging a pretty high price, a pretty elastic price, and they recognize that, what they could do is lower their price a little bit. And as they lower their price a little bit, they'd be able to sell a few more units of their product. And if they do that, if they start moving to a less elastic price and getting ultimately towards your unit elastic price, you would see their revenue would increase. If you found that unit elastic price and the corresponding unit elastic quantity, that would give you maximum possible total revenue. And that would be the most desirable outcome for the firm. Now, you could also think about it from the opposite direction. If the firm were charging a really low price in order to attract a really high number of customers, they'd be somewhere down here in our inelastic range. Right? low customers, high price. If a firm were operating in that combination to start, you would see also revenue not being maximized. In that scenario, the firm who was operating somewhere down here with a low price and having a really high number of customers would see their revenues increase if they were to raise their price a little bit, knowing they would lose a few customers. Their revenue would start to increase as they moved their price closer up to that unit elastic price. Again, if a firm is able to set their price at that unit elastic price, they'll be maximizing revenue. If their price is above it, they should lower their price some. If their price is below that unit elastic price, they would benefit by raising it some.